You're awake, it's late, you told everyone you're fine, but now it's just you and the ceiling, and the quiet is so loud, isn't it? The question isn't, how are you? The real question is, are you really okay? Let's talk about it. 6. Are you really okay? Chapter 1, Work. Your job is what you do, not who you are, and it's okay to protect your peace from your productivity. It's 6 a.m., or maybe it's 11 p.m. The time doesn't really matter, because the feeling is the same. Your phone lights up. It's an email from work, a message on a team chat, a calendar reminder for a meeting you're already dreading. And you feel it, that little jolt, that quiet tightening in your chest. It's the feeling of modern work, the sense that you are never truly off the clock, that you are a human battery and you're running low. We live in a world that has turned busyness into a badge of honor. We say, "I'm so busy," like it means I'm so important. We wear our exhaustion like a prize, proof that we are trying hard enough. But what if? What if that's all a story we've been told? A story that benefits someone else more than it benefits us. This chapter is about work, about the burnout so many of us feel but can't name, about the quiet ways we are pushing back, and about how to reclaim a little piece of yourself from the job that threatens to take it all. You're not alone in this. Let's talk about burnout first. It's a word we hear a lot, but it's not just about being tired. The World Health Organization, WHO, actually calls it an occupational phenomenon. It's a specific kind of stress from a job that hasn't been managed well. It has 3 main ingredients. First, there's the feeling of total energy loss. Not just, "I need a coffee," tired. It's a deep, bone-deep exhaustion where even small tasks feel like climbing a mountain. It's waking up after a full night's sleep and still feeling like you have nothing left to give. Does this sound like you? Second, there's this feeling of mental distance from your job. You might start to feel cynical or negative about your work. Things that used to excite you now just feel like more work. You might feel a little numb, like you're just going through the motions. You're there, but you're not really there. And third, there's the feeling that you're not getting things done. You're working hard, maybe harder than ever, but you feel like you're not effective. You're spinning your wheels. This is maybe the cruelest part of burnout. It makes you feel like you are the problem, but you're not the problem. Burnout is a sign that your environment, your workplace, is asking for more than you can sustainably give. This is often where something called quiet quitting comes in. It's another one of those new phrases, and it gets a bad rap. People imagine it means being lazy or slacking off. But for most people, it's not about quitting on their job. It's about quitting the idea of going above and beyond constantly. It's about quitting the idea that you have to answer emails at night, that you have to say yes to every project, that you have to sacrifice your well-being for a company that might lay you off tomorrow. Quiet quitting is a boundary. It's a quiet rebellion. It's a way of saying, "I will do the job you pay me for, and I will do it well, but I will not give you my soul. I will not give you my family time. I will not give you my sleep." It's an act of self-preservation in a world where job insecurity is a constant low-grade hum in the background. Many of us are working in economies where jobs feel less stable than they used to be. Source, OECD. We're told to be grateful just to have a job, which can make it feel impossible to set boundaries. We're afraid that if we don't give 150%, we'll be the first one on the chopping block. So we perform. We perform productivity. We perform enthusiasm on video calls. We perform the role of the ideal worker who is always on, always available, always positive. And that performance is exhausting. It's like wearing a heavy costume all day and you never get to take it off. Your identity gets tangled up with your busyness. Who are you if you're not busy? Who are you if you're not your job title? These are scary questions, but they are important ones, because you are more than your productivity. Your worth is not measured in emails sent or deadlines met. You are a whole person, and that person deserves rest. Rest is not laziness. Let's say that again. Rest is not laziness. It is a biological need. It is essential. So, how do we start to find that rest? How do we push back gently? It starts with small things, tiny, manageable acts of reclaiming your time and energy.
Try this. Practice the shutdown ritual. At the end of your workday, create a small ritual that signals to your brain that work is over. It could be as simple as closing your laptop and saying, "Work is done for today." It could be changing out of your work clothes. It could be going for a 5-minute walk. The act itself is less important than the consistency. You are creating a clear line between your work life and your real life. Reclaim your lunch break. Do not eat at your desk while answering emails. That is not a break. That is just more work, but with food. Step away. Go outside if you can. Eat your food without looking at a screen. Listen to a song. Do nothing. Give your brain a real pause. The American Psychological Association notes that taking breaks can prevent burnout and increase focus. Use a boundary script. We often don't set boundaries because we don't know what to say. We're afraid of sounding rude, so have a few simple lines ready. Boundary line to boss or colleague. Thanks for thinking of me for this. I can't take on anything new right now, but I can look at it next week. Or, more simply, I will get to that first thing in the morning. You are not saying no. You are just protecting your evening. Do an energy audit. At the end of the day, take 2 minutes and write down one thing that drained your energy today and one thing that gave you energy. You're not trying to fix anything yet. You're just noticing. Over time, you'll see patterns. Maybe that weekly meeting is always a drain. Maybe a quick chat with a certain coworker always lifts you up. This is data. You can use this data to make small changes. Try single tasking. Our brains are not built for multitasking. When we think we're multitasking, we're actually just switching between tasks very quickly. This is scientifically proven to be less efficient, and it dramatically increases our cognitive load, which is just a fancy way of saying our brain gets tired fast. Pick one thing. Do it for 25 minutes. Then take a 5-minute break. You might be surprised how much more you get done and how much less tired you feel. None of these things will fix a toxic workplace. None of them will magically make your job less stressful. But they are not for your job. They are for you. They are small ways of taking your power back, of reminding yourself that you are in control of your own energy, your own time, your own life. The world will always ask for more. More of your time, more of your energy, more of you. It is not selfish to hold some of that back for yourself. It is necessary. So tonight, or tomorrow, here is your one tiny action. When you finish your work, turn off your email notifications on your phone. Just for the evening. That's it. Give yourself the gift of being unreachable. The world will still be there in the morning. You're not behind, you're not lazy, you're just human. And as a human, you need to rest. The pressure to work, to provide, to succeed, it doesn't just come from our jobs, does it? So often it's tangled up with the people we love most and the people who expect the most from us, our families. And that's where things get really complicated.
Chapter 2. Family. Caring for others is a noble act, but you cannot pour from an empty cup. Your needs matter too. You walk in the door after a long day at work. Or maybe you've been home all day, and it's been its own kind of long day. You drop your keys, you take a breath, and then it starts. The phone buzzes. It's a text from your mom asking for help with her computer again. Your child needs help with a school project that's due tomorrow. You see a stack of bills on the counter that need to be paid. Your partner asks, "What's for dinner?" And in that moment, you feel yourself shrinking. The little bit of energy you had left just vanishes. Welcome to the heart of modern adulthood, the place where work stress meets family pressure. This chapter is about family, the ones we are born into and the ones we create. It's about the immense love and the immense pressure that come with those bonds. It's about the silent weight of being the one everyone counts on. So many of us are part of what they call the sandwich generation. It's a strange name, but it paints a picture, doesn't it? You are squeezed in the middle. On one side, you might be raising your own children. On the other side, you are caring for your aging parents. You are the bridge between two generations, and that bridge is carrying a heavy load. Pew Research has found that a significant number of adults are in this position, providing care and financial support to both their children and their parents. Source: Pew Research. It is a marathon of caregiving that can last for years, even decades. If you're a single parent, this pressure is magnified. You are the sole provider, the sole caregiver, the sole decision maker. The weight of it all rests on your shoulders alone. It is a role of incredible strength, but also one of profound exhaustion, and sometimes deep loneliness. And then there's elder care. This is one of the hardest things we will ever do. It's filled with doctor's appointments and confusing paperwork and difficult conversations. It's watching the people who once cared for you become the ones who need care. There is a quiet grief in that reversal of roles, a sadness that we don't often talk about. We do it all out of love. Of course we do. But love doesn't make it easy. Love doesn't pay the bills. Love doesn't create more hours in the day. And this is where the guilt comes in. The feeling that you are never doing enough, that you are failing someone. You feel guilty when you are at work because you're not with your family. You feel guilty when you are with your family because you're not getting work done. You feel guilty when you take 5 minutes for yourself because you think of all the other things you should be doing. That word, should, it's a heavy one. I should be more patient. I should be able to handle this. I should visit my parents more. I should be a better role model for my kids. These shoulds are often tied to cultural expectations, the unwritten rules of our family or our community about what it means to be a good son, a good daughter, a good parent. We try to live up to an image of perfection that doesn't actually exist. The American Psychological Association has studied caregiver burnout extensively. It's a real and serious condition, similar to job burnout, but often more complex because it's tied to our deepest emotional relationships. Source: APA. The signs are similar: exhaustion, feeling detached or cynical, and a sense of being ineffective in your role as a caregiver. So what do? We can't just quit our families. We can't just turn off the love and the responsibility. We start by admitting a simple, radical truth. Your needs matter too. You are not just a provider. You are not just a caregiver. You are a person. And that person needs and deserves care just like everyone else. Giving yourself that care is not selfish. It is survival. You cannot pour from an empty cup. So let's talk about how to add a few drops back into your own cup. Try this. Learn the power of the gentle no. Setting boundaries with family is one of the hardest things to do. We are wired to help, but sometimes helping everyone else means hurting ourselves. A boundary is not a rejection. It is an act of self-respect. Microscript for a relative? I would love to help with that, but I can't do it this week. Can we look at it next weekend? Or, I only have 15 minutes to talk right now before I have to go, but you have my full attention for these 15 minutes. You are not saying you are not important. You are saying I am important too. Embrace the good enough philosophy. Let go of the idea of being the perfect parent, child, or sibling. You will not always be patient. You will not always have the right answer. You will make mistakes. Aim for good enough. Is everyone safe? Are they loved? Is everyone fed? That is a win. Celebrate good enough. It is far more compassionate and realistic than perfection. Schedule worry time. This is a real technique from therapy. Our brains are problem-solving machines, and when we have a lot of family stress, they can run on an endless loop of worry. So, give your brain a specific time to do its job. Schedule 15 minutes every day, not right before bed, to sit down and think about all your worries. You can even write them down. When the 15 minutes are up, you say, "Okay, time's up." If a worry pops up later, you tell yourself, "I will think about that during my scheduled worry time tomorrow." It sounds silly, but it can be incredibly effective at stopping the 24/7 anxiety cycle. Create a care map. You are not in this alone, even if it feels that way. Take a piece of paper. In the middle, write down the big caregiving task that's weighing on you. Maybe it's mom's appointments or kids' school lunches. Now draw lines out from the center and write down every single person who could possibly help, even in a tiny way. A sibling who lives far away? Maybe they can do the online research for doctors. A neighbor? Maybe they could pick up groceries once a week. A friend? Maybe they can just be the person you call to vent for 5 minutes. You are not asking for a huge commitment. You're just mapping out your hidden support system. Practice the 4-7-8 breath. When you feel that wave of overwhelm rising, this can help calm your nervous system. Our stress response, the fight or flight mode, makes our breathing shallow and fast. We can manually slow it down. Breathe in through your nose for a count of 4. Hold your breath for a count of 7. Breathe out slowly through your mouth for a count of 8. Do this 3 or 4 times. It's a physical signal to your body that you are safe, that the emergency is not right now in this moment. Remember, it is okay to feel overwhelmed. It is okay to feel tired. It is okay to feel sad or angry about your situation sometimes. Having those feelings doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a human being dealing with a very difficult set of circumstances. You are allowed to have needs. You are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to rest. Your one tiny action for tonight or tomorrow is this. Think of one small thing you need just for you. Not what your kids need, or your parents need, or your partner needs. What do you need? Is it 10 minutes of silence in your car before you walk into the house? Is it listening to one song you love with headphones on so no one can interrupt you? Is it drinking a glass of water before you do anything else? Just one small thing, and then give it to yourself. You deserve it. When we spend all our time and energy taking care of work and family, it's easy to forget that there's a person at the center of it all. You. The you that existed before all these responsibilities. The you that had hobbies and passions and dreams. What happens to those dreams when life gets in the way?
Chapter 3. Dreams and Identity. It's never too late to be who you might have been. Your timeline is your own. It's midnight. The house is finally quiet. Everyone else is asleep. This is your time, the only time that belongs just to you. And how do you spend it? You're scrolling. You see an old friend from high school. They just got a big promotion. You see a cousin's vacation photos from some beautiful beach. You see someone you barely know announcing they've written a book, or run a marathon, or started their own business. And you feel that familiar pang, that quiet sinking feeling in your stomach. It's a mix of things, isn't it? A little bit of envy, maybe. A little bit of admiration. But mostly it's a feeling of being behind. A voice in your head whispers, "What have I been doing with my life?" This chapter is about that feeling. It's about the dreams we put on a shelf to make room for real life. It's about the person you used to be and the person you still hope to become. It's about the quiet crisis of identity when you're so busy being a parent, an employee, and a caregiver that you forget who you are. Somewhere in your house, there is probably evidence of a former you. A dusty guitar in the corner, a set of paintbrushes you haven't touched in years, a journal with only the first 3 pages filled out. These were not just hobbies, they were parts of you. They were ways you expressed yourself, ways you felt alive, and one by one, life crowded them out. There was no time, there was no energy. It felt indulgent to spend an hour painting when the laundry was piling up. So you stopped, and you told yourself it was temporary. I'll get back to it when the kids are older. I'll have more time when this big project at work is done. I'll start again when things calm down. But things never really calm down, do they? They just get complicated in new ways. And so the years pass, and the dust gets thicker. This feeling is often called late bloomer anxiety. It's the sense that everyone else got the instruction manual for life and yours got lost in the mail. They hit all the milestones on time. They got the career, the marriage, the house, the 2.5 kids. But research shows those traditional milestones are changing. People are getting married later, buying houses later, and changing careers more often than ever before. Source, Pew Research. The old timeline doesn't exist anymore, but we still use it to measure ourselves, and we always come up short. The biggest reason for this is comparison culture, which is fueled by social media. We are constantly looking at everyone else's highlight reel and comparing it to our own behind-the-scenes mess. Psychologists have a term for this, the comparison trap. We are evolutionarily wired to compare ourselves to others to see how we fit into the social group. But our brains were not designed to compare ourselves to thousands of people from all over the world all day, every day. Source: APA. It creates a completely distorted view of reality. It makes us feel like we're the only ones struggling, the only ones who don't have it all figured out. But you're not. You're not alone. The truth is, your life is not a race. There is no finish line you are supposed to cross at a certain age. You're not late. You're living. Your path is your own. The detours you took, the responsibilities you shouldered, those were not a waste of time. They were part of your story. They made you who you are today. And that person is strong and resilient and has a depth that you might not have had otherwise. So maybe you feel like you've lost your identity. Maybe when someone asks you, what do you do for fun, you draw a blank because you can't remember the last time you did something just for fun. That's okay. Your identity isn't gone. It's just been sleeping. And we can wake it up gently. It's not about making a massive change overnight. It's not about quitting your job to become an artist. It's about finding small ways to reconnect with the parts of yourself you've been missing.
Try this. Go on an artist date. This is a concept from a famous book called The Artist's Way. Once a week, you take yourself on a small solo date for 30 minutes. It's not about producing anything. It's about filling your creative well. You could go to a library and just browse the covers of books. You could walk through a park and just look at the shapes of the leaves. You could go to a hardware store and just look at all the different colors of paint. The only rule is you have to do it alone, and it has to be just for fun. Try the 5-minute hobby. The reason we don't pick up that old guitar is because the idea of practicing for an hour feels overwhelming. So don't. Just pick it up for 5 minutes. Play one song, or just one chord. Doodle in a notebook for 5 minutes. Write just one sentence in a journal. The goal is not to be good at it. The goal is to simply do it. To remind yourself that this part of you still exists. Curate your social media feed. You are in control of what you consume. Unfollow any account that consistently makes you feel bad about yourself. Mute people if you need to. And then, actively seek out and follow accounts that inspire you in a gentle way. Maybe it's people who started a new hobby in their 40s, or people who share their struggles as well as their successes. Make your social media a place of encouragement, not comparison. Ask a different question. Instead of asking, what should I do with my life, which is a huge, scary question, ask a smaller, kinder question. Journaling prompt. What was I like as a kid before the world told me who I should be? What did you love to do? What were you curious about? The answers might surprise you and give you clues about what your soul is missing. Journaling prompt. What is one thing I could do this week that is just for me? It doesn't have to be productive. It doesn't have to impress anyone. It just has to be yours. Understand the identity jars concept. Imagine you have a bunch of jars, and each one is labeled with a part of your identity: parent, employee, spouse, child, etc. For many of us, most of our sense of self is poured into just one or two of those jars. If something goes wrong with one of those, we lose our job, or our kids grow up and leave home, it feels like we've lost everything. The goal is to slowly add new jars. Maybe a tiny gardener jar, a walker jar, a music lover jar. You put a little bit of time and energy into each one. This makes your identity more resilient. You are not just one thing. You are many things. Reinventing yourself isn't about becoming a totally new person. It's about coming back to the person you've always been. It's about giving yourself permission. Permission to be a beginner. Permission to be imperfect. Permission to play. Permission to have dreams, even if they look different now than they did when you were 20. Sometimes we feel so stuck because of something called learned helplessness. It's a psychological state where after experiencing a stressful situation repeatedly, we come to believe that we are unable to control or change the situation, so we don't even try anymore. That's a source from the APA. We feel trapped in our lives, our jobs, our responsibilities. But you are not trapped. You have choices. They may be small choices at first, but they are still choices. Your one tiny action for tonight or tomorrow. Find that old guitar, or those paintbrushes, or that journal. You don't have to do anything with it. Just pick it up. Hold it. Remember what it felt like to use it. That's it. Just say hello to an old friend. You are not late. You're living, and your story is still being written. So we've talked about the weight of our work, the pressure from our families, the grief for our lost dreams. It's a lot. The natural question is, how do we carry it all? How do we find a way to not just survive, but to feel okay again? That's where recovery begins, and where hope lives. Chapter 4: Recovery and Hope. Healing is not a destination, but a daily practice of taking small, kind steps toward yourself. You're lying in bed. It's 3 a.m. Your body is exhausted, but your mind is running a marathon. It's replaying a mistake you made at work. It's worrying about a bill you have to pay. It's making a to-do list for tomorrow that's already impossible. This is the vicious cycle of stress and sleeplessness. The more stressed you are, the harder it is to sleep. The less you sleep, the harder it is to cope with stress. This is according to the CDC. And in that dark, quiet room, it's easy to feel completely and utterly alone, overwhelmed, hopeless. You think about all the problems, work, family, money, the dreams you've put on hold, and it feels like a giant tangled knot. You don't even know where to begin to pull at a thread. So you do nothing. You just lie there, feeling the weight of it all. This is what overwhelm does. It paralyzes us. This final chapter is about finding a way out of that paralysis. It's not about quick fixes or magic solutions. There are none. This is about recovery and hope. Not the loud, cheerful, look on the bright side kind of hope, but a quieter, more stubborn kind. The kind of hope that says, today was hard, but tomorrow I will try again. It starts with understanding what's happening in your body. That racing heart, that shallow breathing, that feeling of constant alert. That's your nervous system's fight or flight response. It's a survival mechanism that's supposed to help you escape a real physical danger. But in our modern lives, the danger is a deadline, or a difficult conversation, or a stack of bills. The threat never goes away, so our bodies stay in a constant state of high alert. This long-term activation of the stress response system can be harmful to our health. This is according to the APA and WHO. Recovery is the process of gently telling your body that you are safe. It's about learning to turn down the volume on that internal alarm. And a huge part of that is sleep. Sleep is not a luxury. It is a fundamental biological process that allows your brain and body to repair themselves. When we don't get enough of it, everything is harder. Our mood, our focus, our ability to solve problems, it all suffers. Modern life is full of things that disrupt our natural sleep patterns or our circadian rhythm. One of the biggest culprits is the blue light from our screens, our phones, our tablets, our TVs. That light signals to our brain that it's daytime, and it suppresses the production of melatonin, the hormone that helps us sleep. This is according to the Sleep Foundation. So if we're going to talk about recovery, we have to start with sleep. But recovery is also about mindset. It's about challenging the hopeless stories our tired brains tell us. It's about looking for small moments of good, even on the bad days. And maybe most importantly, it's about connection. The feeling that we are alone in these struggles is one of the most painful parts. But it's a feeling, not a fact. Millions of people are lying awake at night, feeling the exact same way you do. You are not alone in this. Finding help can be hard. Therapy can be expensive and hard to access. There can be stigma around asking for help, but there are more options now than ever before, from community mental health services to online support groups. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of incredible strength. But it all starts with small, practical steps, things you can do right now, tonight, to begin the process of healing.
Try this. Practice good sleep hygiene. This is just a term for creating habits that set you up for a good night's sleep. The 1-hour wind down. For the last hour before you plan to go to sleep, turn off all screens. The blue light is keeping you awake. Read a real book. Listen to calm music. Do some gentle stretching. Let your brain know it's time to power down. Cool, dark, and quiet. Make your bedroom a sanctuary for sleep. Keep it cool. Use blackout curtains if you can. If you can't control noise, try a white noise machine or earplugs. Get out of bed. If you've been lying awake for more than 20 minutes, get out of bed. Go to another room and do something calming and low light until you feel sleepy again. Lying in bed stressing about not sleeping only makes it worse. Start a small wins jar. Get an empty jar. Every time something good happens, no matter how small, write it down on a slip of paper and put it in the jar. A stranger smiled at me. I finished a task I was dreading. I drank a glass of water. On the really hard days, when you feel like you've accomplished nothing, you can pull out a few slips of paper and remind yourself that it's not true. There is good in your life. You just have to train your brain to look for it. Shift your language. The words we use matter. They shape our reality. Instead of saying, I have to, which feels like a burden, try saying, I get to, which feels like an opportunity. I have to go to work becomes, I get to earn a living. It doesn't change the task, but it can change how you feel about it. Add the word yet to the end of negative self-talk. I can't handle this becomes, I can't handle this yet. It opens the door to possibility and growth. Build a routine. When everything feels chaotic and out of control, routines can be incredibly calming for our brains. They create predictability and safety. It doesn't have to be complicated. A simple morning routine could be wake up, drink a glass of water, stretch for 3 minutes. A simple evening routine could be the 1-hour wind down we just talked about. These are small anchors in your day that you can hold on to when everything else feels stormy. Find your community. This doesn't have to be a huge group of friends. It can be one person you can be honest with.
One person you can text and say, "Today is a hard day." It could be an online forum for caregivers, or a local book club, or a walking group. Find a place where you don't have to pretend you're fine, where you can just be yourself. Recovery is not a straight line. There will be good days and there will be bad days. The goal is not to never have a bad day again. The goal is to build the tools and the resilience to get through the bad days, knowing that they will pass. Hope is not about pretending the darkness doesn't exist. It's about lighting a small candle in the middle of it. Your one tiny action for tonight. As you lie in bed, put one hand on your chest. Feel it rise and fall. Just breathe. You don't have to solve all your problems tonight. You don't have to have it all figured out. Your only job in this moment is to breathe. You have survived 100% of your worst days so far. That is not an accident. That is proof of your strength. You are not broken. You are human, and you are doing the best you can, and that is more than enough. You are not alone.
Thank you for spending this time with me tonight. If any of this felt true for you, it would mean a lot if you'd consider subscribing. It helps more people who are awake in the middle of the night find a quiet place to land. The comments are always a space for our community. If you feel comfortable, I'd love for you to share one small, tiny change you might try this week. It could be as simple as drinking a glass of water in the morning or saying no to one small thing. Reading each other's ideas can make us all feel a little less alone. Until then, be kind to yourself. You're doing better than you think. Good night.